First of all, I'd like for us to watch a video about ecosystems. What is an ecosystem? And this is from Discovery Ed.
Hi, I'm Kirsten. Welcome to Real World Science. Everything on Earth is part of an ecosystem, and you're a very important part of your ecosystem. Stay tuned to learn more about the exciting worlds that exist all around us. What is an ecosystem? So exactly what is an ecosystem? An ecosystem is a system formed by the interaction of a community of organisms with their physical environment. Let me see if I can make this a little clearer. Take this pond, for example. Everything you see here, the water, the ground, the plants and animals living in and near the water, is an ecosystem. The living things and their non-living environment are working together and helping to maintain each other. When you have a relationship where things work together and depend on each other to exist, it's called symbiosis. So a pond is an ecosystem. But what about if we took a drop of pond water and put it in a dish? Well, this is an ecosystem too, only much smaller. There's still an environment, the water, and living organisms inside too, each working together to help maintain the other. So if an ecosystem can be as small as a drop of water, we can't possibly cover all the ecosystems in the world during this program. But we can cover some of the major ecosystems on Earth, each with unique environments and living organisms. These areas are called biomes. By definition, a biome is a major regional or global living community characterized by the dominant organisms and the climate.
All right, so to help us better understand the difference between an ecosystem and a biome, ecosystem is a community of living and non-living things, really small or smaller. Biome is much larger, all right? So it's a larger area, larger region, and so you can have several ecosystems in a biome. All right, so we're going to talk about the different characteristics that make up a biome. Climate. What is?
Time interruption. They are getting ready to turn the water off in the Earth Wing. So if you need to use the restroom, you need to use the bathrooms on the 4th and 5th grade hallway. Those will be fine and have running water. I'll let you know when the other bathrooms are working again. Thank you.
All right. So what is climate? Climate is characteristics or the characteristic condition of the atmosphere, so the air, the atmosphere, near the surface, the Earth's surface, is set in place on Earth. So basically it's what is the condition or how is the atmosphere in a particular place on Earth. All right, so climate is long-term, weather is short-term, climate is long-term, and usually at least 3 years. This includes regions, the region's general pattern of the weather condition. It also includes weather extremes like hurricanes, droughts, rainy periods. But 2 of the most important factors determining an area's climate are the air temperature, so how hot or cold the air is, and precipitation, which would be rain. So precipitation is water that falls from the sky. It could be in form of liquid like rain, sleet, solid like snow. So how would you describe our climate? The climate changes from the Atlantic coast to Appalachian Mountains and changes throughout seasons. But it's mostly humid subtropical with hot, humid summers and mild winters. So when we're saying our climate, We're talking about the climate in North Carolina. Why is our climate different from other places around the world? That's because of the uneven heating of the earth by the sun. All right, so the sun does not heat the entire earth evenly. And so some areas have don't get a lot of sunlight, and they have cold air masses, so the air there is cold. And then some areas get so much sunlight and the air there is warm. Have you ever wondered why one area of the earth is a desert, another is a grassland, another is a rainforest, and why there are different deserts, different forests, why these are all different? There are different types of lives in the different areas. And the reason why is because of the climate. We're going to watch a short video talking about why you would not find pineapples in the polar region or polar bears in a warm region as well.
Plants are awesome. They're usually quite pretty. The bigger ones provide shade in the summer, many of them have flowers, and some of them are downright tasty. They even do something that most other living things on Earth can't do. Plants take the energy from the sun and change it into chemical energy through photosynthesis. This is the energy that they use to grow. I'm sure you already realize that certain plants, like pineapples, only grow in certain places, specifically places that are tropical, warm, sunny, and a really nice place to take a vacation. But you don't naturally find pineapples in the same places as you do penguins. But why is that? Why do some plants grow in certain areas of the earth and not others? Like so many things, the answer has to do with the sun. The Earth orbits the sun every 365 days. It takes this trip tilted on an invisible line called its axis. This tilt means that the sun's light doesn't hit the Earth evenly. You know this from when we talked about the seasons and why they happen. But seasons aren't the only thing caused by Earth's tilt. Some parts of the Earth, specifically near the equator, get a lot of direct sunlight, or sunlight that beams straight down instead of at an angle. Direct sunlight is pretty intense and hot, so the areas around the equator are warm all the time. Now, the opposite is true for the poles. They get a lot more indirect sunlight, or sunlight that strikes the Earth at a shallow angle all year long. And angled rays are a lot weaker, so they're less warm. And this explains why there are no pineapples at the South Pole. How? Let's say you grow 2 bean seeds in the same conditions in the same room. Same amount of soil, same amount of water daily, even the same kind of pot. Then let's say you put one in direct sunlight, like on a windowsill, and the other across the room on the table. And then you wait. After about 3 weeks, if you compare the plant grown in direct sunlight with the one grown in indirect sunlight, you'd see that the one grown in direct sunlight is a lot bigger, not to mention happier and healthier, if greenness is any indication. And why shouldn't it be? It's had more sunlight to change its energy through photosynthesis, and that energy means more growth. And if you compare the temperature on the windowsill to the temperature on the table, you'd see that the plant by the window was growing in warmer temperatures too. Since the equator gets direct sunlight all year long, it has warm temperatures all year long. So picky plants like pineapples, which take a long time and a lot of energy to produce that yummy fruit, are able to grow there. But pineapples at the poles? Nope. There's just not enough energy from the sunlight there to give the plant what it needs to survive. So, the Earth's tilt on its axis means the areas around the equator get direct sunlight all year long. This means warm temperatures throughout the year, and the areas near the Earth's poles get indirect sunlight all year long, which means colder temperatures throughout the year. Since plants need sunlight for photosynthesis, areas that get a lot of direct sunlight, like around the equator, are home to lots of plants, especially the ones that take a long time to grow. And that's why there are no pineapples at the poles. So all I'm saying is, if you happen to be traveling to the North or South Pole sometime soon, and you really like pineapple, you should just plan on packing some with you. Don't say I didn't warn ya.
All right, so basically that just explains why some organisms grow in certain areas and other organisms do not grow in those areas. Why? Because of the climate. So what does the climate do? It controls the world's biomes. The climate of a region will determine if a certain kind of plant will grow there or a certain type of animal can live there. All right. All three components, climate, plants, and animals, are what totally make up a biome. So what is a biome? I'd like for you to write this down. A biome is a large, distinctive complex of plant communities created and maintained by climate. Please make sure you're writing right now. Right, so biome is large. It's distinctive. You can tell the different biomes. All right. It's a distinctive complex of plant communities created and maintained by climate. All right, rainfall and temperature are two factors that determine the type of biome. All right, rainfall and temperature are factors that determine the type of biome. And I'd love for you to write that down as well. Temperature is how hot or how cold something is. If I do a word search with temp, that means heat. So two important factors, rainfall and temperature. Lots of rain and mild temperatures. That's the picture. Warm conditions and very little rain. And notice how they're different. So this one has lots of rain and mild temperatures. And this other biome has very little rainfall. And notice how they're different, stacked different. These are various climate zones around the world. And we're going to look at the rainfalls and how it differs in different places. Where does the planet get the most amount of rain? Right there. All right. And if we're reading this map, using the key is also very helpful. This is the number of centimeters or how much rain or in centimeters or inches that the place gets. So the areas with blue or deep blue have the most amount of rain. Where does the planet get the least rain? So when I'm looking here, areas that are pink would get the least rain. So those areas are going to be like deserts. So biome characteristics. This is very important. If you would please write this down as well. So biome is a large area of Earth. It has similar means same, predictable means you can predict or you can tell, climate. It has similar plants. It has similar soil. And it also has similar amount of sunlight. So characteristics of a biome, it's a large area of Earth. It has similar predictable climate, similar plants, similar soil, and similar amount of sunlight. I'll give us a few more seconds to finish writing. Okay. So here are the world's different biomes, all right? And you can see they're color-coded. And over the next week, we're going to go ahead and cover the different biomes of the world. All right. So knowing that there are like what an ecosystem is and what makes up a biome, we're going to continue exploring with an exploration on Discovery Ed about biomes and ecosystems. All right. So just a quick recap. What a biome is a large area. An ecosystem is much smaller. So it's a large area of Earth. It's got a similar predictable climate, similar soil, similar plants, and similar amount of sunlight.